underscore dollar sign term, like the env grep what is minus item is. I went to that command. I saw that command on Google. It was just like, I think it was for something like graphics.
Okay.
But that wasn't even the issue, because when I run the command, I didn't see nothing that changed from it.
Alrighty.
Hello, everyone. Renada, permission to record, please. Thank you.
Right. Hello, guys. Good evening. Okay. So, regarding some common issues that were sent to me um, either yesterday or this morning. As I said when we started our project, say that now we are trying to encourage each other to research more, and also if you cannot, you can reach out to your classmate, your co-member, and then your classmate. I'm not doing that, okay, because I don't want to help, but because I want you guys to I want to encourage each other. I want you to help each other. Okay, when we be at work in your company, you have a group, you have a colleague. They can be at the same level like you or lower level. So you have to know how to reach out to them in case you can't fix an issue. So, and that will also help your classmate or your group member to think. So it's always good whenever we troubleshoot. We always learn something from it. Okay, nobody will ever say that after fixing an issue, he or she doesn't feel like there's something new he or she learned. So that's why for project, especially because we get to more difficult things. Not difficult, but more challenging. Some of them are more challenging. And if imagine every single member of the class has to reach out to me directly for small issues. It means that for the entire class 26, I may have about 60 to 70 people to help. That's impossible, okay? So in case I see that an issue will not be resolved at the group or the class level, then I will try to check. That's how it basically works. Okay, that's how we basically work. That's how I work. Just to encourage you to rely on each other before you reach out to me. Okay, and also we have some issues, common issues regarding the batch profile or whatever. For space issues, first of all, you guys should know how to do that. I think when I started here, some of you told me that Miss Emerald show you how to delete space, clear space. So that should be something you own, something you know already. Now, when it comes to batch profile issues, I always say that if you are calling the wrong installer and it doesn't display anything, it gives you display errors. Most of the time, based on my experience on all those stuff, there can be 2 to 3 reasons behind. Okay, it can go above that, but based on what I've encountered so far, either here in Brontech or anywhere else, one of the first issues is the batch profile is wrongly edited. So I came across a server when in the batch profile we have after every like for instance after Oracle Home or Oracle Base, there's always an export at the end of every line. And if you just change a lowercase into capital letter, it will not work anymore. So the export in the batch profile, everything should be in lowercase whenever you put the export. So some people, one or two people had that issue. I don't know what happened, but the export, they put the E in cap. And any additional character you put in the batch profile, you make it fail. I saw somebody who also put a comma a comma. Mistakenly, I saw a comma somewhere in the batch profile. Just with that, because of that comma, you will fail. Everything will fail. So you have to pay attention whenever you are updating the batch profile. It's very important. So some errors come from there first. Other errors come from some people who edit the default name of the batch profile. So there, you should always have a batch profile in your server name .bash_profile. No matter what, never rename that. If you want to create another batch profile, create a new one, but never change that one. So that one should always stay .bash_profile. You can edit the content, it's fine, but never change it, never rename it, okay, or delete it. Because if you delete it, you will have bash error. So you will not, you will connect as Oracle user, but you will not see Oracle. So never rename the default batch profile name .bash_profile. Along with any other file that starts with .bash, like bash rs, .bash rc, bash logout, something like that, or bash history. All those files should not be deleted. They should always stay as they are. You don't have to update them. So one of the second mistake is that people mostly change the default name of the batch profile. This will happen again, I can guarantee you, because your server will be cleared. Proof will clear your server. You guys will have to do everything from scratch, install 11G 12C from scratch. So some of you may update again the batch profile. You will get into that mistake again. So I just want to let you know ahead of the time. And another issue most of you encounter, I think I tried to explain to the person via VNC. I put a note there. You guys should not, whenever you are connected as a user, let's assume you are connected as Oracle user and you want to switch as root user. Okay, you will do SU, you go to root. And now you are done. You finish what you wanted to do as root user. You want to come back as Oracle user. Some of you, instead of doing the exit, because you went from Oracle to root, so you want to come back as Oracle, you just have to do an exit. Some of you will do again another SU. You guys are forgetting that whenever you are not exiting the roots, another exit, the background process is running behind. That's what sometimes causes multiple subsessions, multiple zombie processes or orphan processes on the server, because you spend your time creating sessions. So that's why when you want to call the run installer now, the Oracle notice that there are multiple background processes behind that are representing Oracle user, and it won't be displayed. So for some of you, if you saw me on your server, I just exited all the terminal and I came back, I logged it as Oracle and I just learned the run installer. So it's not advisable to be doing, okay, to be just switching users. That is valid for those who connect to Secret Plus. And at Secret Plus, instead of doing exit to get out of SQL and go to the operating system, they issue either the exclamation mark or host. That thing is laziness, and that thing, you are creating subsessions. If you are connected to SQL, you want to get out of SQL, don't see because you saw in Google or YouTube. Issue exit. That's why Mr. Brenda, I think he taught you that never X out. Always issue exit. If you are somewhere you want to get out of that place, exit. Because you don't know what's happening behind. Okay, so those are the three common scenarios. Okay. Those are the three common scenarios, okay. I saw both for morning and evening, common mistakes, and I just wanted to, okay, throw more light on it. So pay attention to how you edit your batch profile. Make sure that you don't rename the batch profile name .bash_profile, and make sure you don't create subsessions. So you go from Oracle to root. Make sure you want to come back as Oracle user, just do exit. Don't create another SU Oracle again. Okay, make sure you don't have a lot of terminal open, because that can be another cost. If you have multiple terminal open on VNC, it's still the same process, it's still the same thing. So make sure few terminal are open, and yeah, you can do as I said. Okay, so for today, we will proceed with some practicals. That will definitely help you guys for the assignment. So we will install or create a database and connect to databases and show you some basic stuff. Okay, just try to relate some of the things with what you I touch, and also let me share my screen even first. Okay. And after that, while the database will be running, we will come back on the concept, and then I will end with the practicals. So, Ms. Renada, please can you allow me to share my screen? I don't know. Are you here? Oh, okay.
Okay, you're the host now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so assignment basically, I think I told you guys that by now you have installed the 12C software. Today I will show you how you will do this. Okay, I will create one of them, and while creating one, especially the last one, I will show you how you can create the other two. It's easy. So what happens is for Monday, I will designate a group that will come and do this one live. That means I will expect the group to have created the database because everybody saw how I do it. We see how I will do that today. And that group will come and do all this one live. So that's how you with every single project. So I pick a group, and like in the morning I already pick the group. On evening as well, I have to pick a group for that. The group will definitely help us. Okay. We really have fewer people on the evening, and if that means more likely some group will present maybe twice. That's always good for you because I'm giving you the opportunity to dive deeper and to understand technicals. Okay. So just to make sure, all these members, do we still have 12 people in your group, Renata? Hello, Ms. Renata, do you still have 12 people in your group?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Okay. What about this group? All of them are still here? Any group member? Everybody is still here? None of the group members is here? Okay.
Yes, guys. Which group are you talking about?
Landover.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Okay. What about buffer? All the group members are here?
Yeah, we hear that all of them.
Okay, very good. What about Lana?
Yes, they're still there.
So I want Lanham group to do the remaining part. If you are stuck, don't worry, okay? We just want you guys to own it. If you are stuck, I know you won't be stuck. The class is there. I want us to have work together. So again, as I said, you guys know next Monday, okay? I will change this next Monday. You guys already have some resources available. You guys will know all this. You guys will know this one. That is great. But there's already a documentation for that. I think, let me see that. 6. I think there's already documentation on that here. Convert. Even on Google, you can find on YouTube. So you just have to. They want you to finish this. Okay. So don't worry about it. Monday you present it. Okay. I'm not saying others should cross their hand, but everybody will try. By Monday, we should have completed this assignment so that Wednesday we can make sure that everybody is done. Okay. Because let's assume you started. Don't wait till Monday to start. I'm talking about other group, because if you wait till Monday to start, you may not see your mistakes. But you, maybe let's assume you started now and you are stuck somewhere and it did not work for you. So by Monday, we sort out all the errors, any issue. So that by Wednesday, I'm sure that the entire evening class will be done. Once you are done on Wednesday, Friday, no rest, because Friday we are introducing the next project. So it's better for us to get prepared, okay? Because by this weekend, you will have all the materials for the first project for data guard that will start Friday, next Friday. So this Friday, we won't have class. So please, I will give you guys a chat again. Okay, just to remind you guys that you have to present. Yeah. So let's just jump to the second question of the assignment, so that you guys will help you to speed up with the assignment. The assignment is for everybody, but only one group will present. Okay. Any question for me while we are trying to connect? Any questions, any issue, whatever what you say? Let me know now, please.
Please, I have a question. So during the installation, I saw that there was a point where you had to go into VNC. Is there a way to do the installation without having to go to VNC at all?
Yes, I'd say that if you are using Poly, you need a third-party tool. Okay, the Poly itself cannot call a graphical user interface, so it cannot display images. So you need to install a third-party tool. And I told you guys that I use a tool called Xmin. I'm using a tool called Xmin. There are other applications, but I use Xmin. So it's easy to download. So I downloaded Xmin so that it can display graphical user interfaces. Okay. But if you don't have Xmin, with Poly itself, you cannot, unless you have other applications like some of your classmates were using MobileXtem and so on. So that's why I switched maybe to, another reason I switched to VNC was because even though I was able to call the graphical user interface using Poly, because I had Xmin, it was very slow because I was still making a 2-tier connection. So I switched to VNC because it's also faster, because you are straight in the local domain. So it was more faster for me to do the installation through VNC than through Poly. Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. Do we have to configure a new listener for the 12C?
Yes, definitely. I think most of you will notice that at the database creation, okay, most of the time you have that option that will come up, okay? You can, when you will create a first database, if there is no listener visible there, you can create a new one. And some other people have other techniques, okay? Some techniques people can use. They can use what we call symbolic link, okay? What happens is you guys already have listener on 11G, for instance, and maybe you want that listener to listen to 12C databases. What happens is you can create a link so that from 12C you can use the 11G database. So some people can do that, okay? But for you guys, you don't need to bother about symbolic link. When you will be creating a first database, most of the time, Oracle will give you the option to create a brand new listener. So you can create a brand new listener right from there, okay? It's possible. Any other question? Okay. Any question?
Yeah, I have another question. If you unplug a database from the container, does it mean that you have to drop that database?
No, you can, whenever you unplug a pluggable from a container, before you even unplug it, you have to make sure it's down. You have to close it first. That's the first requirement. So once you close it, you unplug it, it will still be on the container, but down. Okay, so you have the option to drop it after you unplug. Okay, unplug doesn't mean removing the pluggable. You just, okay, oh, the waiting room is enabled. I always like to disable the waiting room. Let me disable the waiting room so that people can just get in without me having to give them permission. Okay, okay, so what I was saying is that even though you can, whenever you unplug a pluggable from a container, its data are still there, but it is down. So it means that you can unplug it and you even plug it out of the server. So on the remote server. Once you do that, the one that is on the container, if you want to, you can still use it. Yeah. Unplug just means you just take the pluggable along with its data, metadata, or even the data, metadata plus data, and you go ahead to plug it in another container. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem.
I got a question.
Sure, please.
Yeah, you said we can bring the NOC container to the pluggable
Yes, we
database.
can. Yes,
Yeah.
we can convert it. We can convert a non-container into pluggable. Yes.
Okay. And you say if you want to connect it to the pluggable, you have to put the password and the art and the pluggable name. If you want to connect this pluggable, it was not containers, you bring this on the coming pluggable, you want to just connect it for that pluggable. That's which background is go use. Is go use the background, the not container or the container background.
Please, can you rephrase your question? Maybe I did not get you right. Please.
I say, if you convert the non-container database to the pluggable.
Okay.
Okay. And if you want to just connect it for the pluggable, you say if you want to connect to pluggable, you not go connect like one you used to connect. You go just put the, I think the password and the username and password, art, and the pluggable name. If you connect for this pluggable, which background this pluggable go use? It's go use not contain background or this contain background?
No, that is already a pluggable. So that means that pluggable will be using the container resources. You no longer rely on the non-container resources, okay? So whenever you are converting a non-container into a pluggable, it loses its instance. It loses its instance and everything. So we just come with its data files, okay? So whenever it's already a pluggable, it completely relies on the container now. It no longer relies on the old architecture.
Okay. The second question,
Okay.
for this not content database, you bring it pluggable. If you connect to the 11G, you can connect it for this database?
No, exactly. That is one of the disadvantages of 12c, because
Yes.
if the database on 11G, you have to upgrade it first to 12c, because pluggable are available only on 12c. So the first thing for you to do is to upgrade the database first to 12c. Okay, the non-container on 11G, upgrade it to 12c first, then convert it into pluggable.
Okay. I say if you done this process and the 11G, you cannot connect it for this database anymore.
If you do what, please?
If you finish this process, like you convert this not content database to the pluggable, and this and the 11G, that database you cannot connect for that database anymore.
The database is no longer an 11G database, simply because you already upgraded to 12c. So you no longer have 11 database. What happened is what? during the procedure of conversion, whenever you want to convert a non-container into pluggable,
Yes.
let's assume you already upgraded to 12C. So it means you no longer have 11G version. Now on 12C, the procedure is what? The procedure is just to shut down the database before you unplug it. So once before you convert into pluggable, what happens is what? The conversion of a non-container into pluggable is not like, it just, the easiest way, the easiest thing to know is that you will just generate an XML file. Is that XML file, okay, you generate a file in an XML format. You guys will see that. So that is that file you are going to use to create a pluggable. So the non-container itself will be down, shut down immediately. So it means that if you are not having a beta experience with the pluggable, you can drop the pluggable and come back and use the non-container as it was before. That you just need to start it back up. Okay. Once you start it back up, it will still be as a non-container, but it will be now on 12C because it's no longer on 11G. Okay. And why am I saying that? Because once you upgrade the database from 11 to 12C, after you change something we call compatibility parameter, it becomes more difficult for you to downgrade it back to 11G. So yeah, so it becomes more difficult. So most of the time, whenever you upgrade a database, companies mostly give 30 days. Whenever you go to upgrade, I will explain more. Company mostly give 30 days for the application team to test their application, test their code, if they're having a good performance. If they're having a good performance in the upgraded version, now we decide to decommission the 11G. So we keep moving with the 12C. And whenever we decide to move with the 12C, we change the compatibility parameter. You guys have that parameter on your P5. Once we change that compatibility parameter and we point it to the higher version, now to go back on 11G becomes very complicated. It is possible, but it becomes very, very complicated. Okay, so you will stay on 12C.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Excuse me, sir. I just have a little question based on what he was asking too.
Go ahead, please.
So since the container stuff is available from 12C and above with the latest versions, so it means like, if for example you're working on a 18C, can one of the pluggable be like 12C and then another one be like 18, or all must be like 12? All the pluggable must be 12C or 18C, something like that.
I think on 12C release 2, starting from 12C release 2, a container can have pluggable with different version. Okay, so that means the container itself should be high. It should be at the highest version. Let's assume you have a container on 12C release 2. It can have pluggable. Oh no, I'm talking about Karata set. I'm talking about Karata set. Karata set is the type of Karata a database can use. But I think when it comes to container and pluggable, I think all of them should have the same version, of course. Yeah, because all of them are sharing the same Oracle component. Okay, so you cannot have pluggable having their own version. Okay, they may have patch version, but then they may not have their own version. When we talk about patch version, we get to Oracle upgrade and patching. But if you have a container on 18C, this pluggable, once you upgrade the container, okay? Once you upgrade the container to 18C, all the pluggable will also be upgraded to 18C. All of them will have the same version, definitely. I don't know you understand what I'm saying. Are we getting it or what? You guys can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. I think because I was part of a migration project when we were migrating from on-premise to Exadata Cloud customer. Exadata is a product, okay, one of the Oracle products. And we were migrating 11G and 12C databases. And in the cloud, we just had 3 containers. 3 containers. 1 container for production, 1 container for dev, 1 container for test databases. Okay. And we have 1 container for management, because we have sometimes management databases that are running on their own container. Because the management database can help you to see other databases from one location. So we have in general 4 containers, but the biggest container was the production. And on the on-premise server, that means on the data center, we had 11G, 11.03, 11.01, and 12C. So what happened about the 11G was, again, for us to upgrade them to 12C first, and just while migrating, we migrated them and we converted them into pluggable, so that all of them can fit in the container. So I remember well that we decided to give, okay, to make sure that all of them are using the same version. Maybe on 18C, 19C, there's something different. Maybe I may need to check. But on 12C release 1, release 2, I think container and pluggable should have the same version for each work. Okay. Any other question?
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. I tried uninstalling the software I installed, the 12C. I tried uninstalling it. Kept giving me some like couple of questions. I didn't know how to answer them.
Read them right. If you read perfectly, I think you have 2 questions that should be answered, 1 or 2. One will ask you to list all the listeners that are running or whatever. If you don't have any listener, just hit enter. Okay. If you have a listener that is running on 12C already, you just type the listener name. The second question will be to list all the Oracle databases that are running in that Oracle home. If you have a database running there, you put the name. If you don't, you just hit enter. That's it. Nothing else. And at the end, it will ask you, do you want to continue? You just say yes or no. Just click on yes, and it will install for you. These are the 3 questions you may have there. Does it make sense?
Yep. Excuse my ignorance, though.
No, it's okay. You just take some time and read, and you will see that is
okay.
Any other question, guys? Please. For those who just joined, please, this group is still valid.
Which one?
Landover. Landover, one of the members here.
So I think in Lanham, we had one member that joined. I think you should.
Whoa, please. Whoa.
It's a woman.
The person is here? Or?
I think he should be connected. Woman. I'll probably text you his name later.
Okay, no problem. You can just do that.
No, okay. But you can just put Romain, R-O-M-A-I-N.
Like this?
I-N. I-N. Yeah, that's it.
So there's no,
for the Landover group, they presented last time, so I guess it's still a group.
Yeah, I want to make sure, I saw some cleanup in your platform, right? I saw Mr. Brenda was doing some cleanup. I want to make sure, rely on them, okay? Because I'm doing this because
I think they are there because I think some of them attend the morning and some might be probably late.
Okay, then I will check back again next Monday then. Okay, thanks. Okay, so again, now that you guys will have 2 Oracle software installed, okay, because but I assume you have the 11G, okay? So by adding this 12C, it makes a minimum of 2 software on your server now. So the way you will connect that, you just need an additional command to connect now. Because each of them may have their own batch profile, okay? So you may need now to set the batch environment first, okay? If you want to go to 11G, you go to, you use the batch profile of 11G. You want to go to 12C, you use the batch profile of 12C, okay? That should be an habit now. And to validate that you are on 12C, you can issue this command to make sure the Oracle home is the 12C Oracle home. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if you don't put any batch profile there, if you don't set a batch profile, is it still gonna work? Like, is there a default one that you will go to?
Okay, very good. Very good. If you don't set the batch profile, it will pick any Oracle software that is installed on the default batch profile. So it means if the default batch profile was 11G, we just assume that you are on 11G. Okay, so let's assume I have 2 batch profiles, this one and a new one, 12C batch profile. So if I don't set the batch profile to 12C, Oracle will automatically pick this .batch underscore profile. So it means if this one was 11G, then you will be working on 11G by default. If you even call GBCA without setting to 12C, the GBCA will point to 11G because the default batch profile was set up for 11G. Does it make sense?
So are you trying to say that if we want to delete a database, create databases in 12C and we want to delete those databases through DBCA, we'll have to set the batch profile first?
Sure, yes. For it or delete, you have to set the batch profile.
Okay, but then if we want to delete in 11C, we don't have to.
You don't have to, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can still issue .space, you put this one, yeah. For those who install the 12C on this one, they will not need to do this, okay? Maybe some of you just updated this one and put 12C. Let's assume you did that. If your 12C is the one configured in this batch profile, you won't need to do all this, okay? I did it because this batch profile is different from the default batch profile. For me to be on 12C, I need to set the 12C batch profile to do anything on 12C. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Another person can validate he or she is on 12C using the echo. So you have multiple ways of validating you are really in the environment. Let's assume some people use batch profile in environment, some other people don't use batch profile. Okay, I got to a company where you were setting the environment, not using the batch profile. You will see some people will be using export. Okay, you see somebody will do export Oracle Home, export Oracle SIG, export path. That is the same thing. Okay, so you guys are familiar with this way. It's okay. So now that I'm on 12C, that's it. I just issued GBCA. Okay, nothing complicated because my environment is set. I'm on 12C. So my GBCA should be a 12C GBCA. Okay. It should look like 12C. If it doesn't show 12C, then there's something wrong. It should show 12C like this. Then it validates that you're on 12C. Okay. All right, so this is how you look like, okay? For you guys, those who never create a database, you will have only these 2 options available. You may not have these others. Why? Because I created a database in the morning for the morning class. That's why we have the second, the third, and the fourth option available. I will Okay, this one can be used if somebody wants to add pluggable to a container. So we'll talk about this one. So those who are doing the assignment can use this option. Okay, it will be easier for you guys to do that. Or you can use the manual way of doing it. It's also fine. So we talk about template more in Rack. How are they useful? How do we use them? Okay. So we create tab, you just create. Okay. And you have two options like this. You see one option here, another option here. So when you click on the second option, it disables the other one. So what is this option used for? This one is the default template Oracle provides to you. So it means that you just have to fill out this page. You fill up this page, right? You fill up this page and that's it. So you just have to put the database name, the type of storage you want to use, file system or ASM. ASM, I will talk about it in Rack because it's mostly used for cluster. Also, it can be used for single instance, okay? But I will talk about ASM, okay, when you get there. File location, you just need to specify the file location. You guys know this, okay? Put it wherever you want it to go. You can browse, you put it in a particular location. The FRA, you guys know where if you want to set up your FRA, you just need to do that. The character set, that means the set of character you want Oracle to use for a database, okay? You can set it, but the default is this. The admin password, sys password, you just need to put it. If you want to create it as a container, you can just create a container, but with one pluggable. So this is a default template that Oracle provides. So once you fill out this one, you are even done. You don't have enough to do. But the second option, you see that there's a lot of steps. But the first option, you see, well, after you fill out this one, you just go to the prerequisite check, if there's something to check, and summary, and that's it. So this is the only page you have to fill out. But what happens is, the database will actually be managed by Oracle. The type of management is called Oracle Managed File. So it means that this type of configuration, Oracle will be managing the data file for you. That means the naming convention of your database spaces, you won't decide. Okay, Oracle is the one to decide the naming convention. So for instance, you will no longer have system01.dbf. You will have a crazy name given by Oracle. So those who want to try just to see how it looks like can go ahead. And I can guarantee you that as well, the way of managing Oracle managed files is different from the way of managing regular file system. So those who will go ahead and create like this way, the way they will be plugging and unplugging will be different as well. So just be aware of that. This is the easiest way, but you should know that Oracle will be managing your data file for you. It is even advisable. Some environments use Oracle Managed File even, okay? And especially when we get to Rack, again, we will throw more light on Oracle Managed File because the file system ASM mostly goes with Oracle Managed File. Okay, so there we talk about it. So, but for us here, if you want to manage it as you did, like multiple companies do, you just check this box. You see now there are multiple steps. So you have to follow steps. This one is more custom. You go to next. You have three options. You guys know, you guys usually do the general purpose. You also have custom. So if you want to set up your data file yourself, allocate things yourself, customize your own way. Some people use custom. You want data warehouse for big data, you can choose data warehouse because there's a driver for it available. So when you install the Oracle software, it comes with all these options. So for OLTP environment, okay, transactional processing, you guys usually choose this one. So you go to next. Here now, this is the only thing that looks a bit different. Before, you guys did not have this one below here. You have only these two lines. So it means the database, you put the global name, you put here will be the same as the SID. You see somebody will put, okay, in the morning I created Acorn. So for you, I will create a database called Beacon. So what am I saying here? If I create a database like this and I don't check this box, I'm creating a non-container. So it means that other step forward, other step will be as you guys know. Okay? Whenever I don't check this one, it means I'm creating non-container. That means a database similar to 11 database you guys have been creating so far. So it means that the group should be able to, so they will just name it non-con. If we want to create an empty container, which is the next question, empty. I said that empty container doesn't have pluggables. So you just have to check this box and click on empty. So it means that the container will not come with pluggable. It will come only with a seed. So you are done. You just move. The next step will be the same, not complicated. And if now you want to create a container now with pluggables, now check this one. So all those three options are found here. So because I want us to see stuff, I will create a container. So I will just help you guys to do the third question. But the other one you can do, it's easy. So my container, I want it to 3 pluggable. So you just increase the number of pluggable here. You see? So if I say, okay, let me assume that I want 500 pluggable. Let's see. And what's happening here, you put the initial. All pluggable will have the same initial. So they should start the same way when you are creating them. Let's assume that you put here initial is PDB. This is the initial. So if I said I want 5 pluggable, it means that the first one will be PDB1, the second one PDB2, the third one PDB3, the fourth one PDB4, the fifth one PDB5. So this one is a prefix. Okay, so it's what when you create a container with pluggable right from GBCA, all of them will have the same prefix. But when you are converting a non-container into pluggable, it's not mandatory for it to have the same prefix as the existing pluggable. That one is different. But if you are creating a container with pluggables, all the pluggable will have the same prefix. Okay, so let's assume I want the prefix to be beacon PDB. Okay. If I say, for instance, let's assume I said 300. Let's see. You see that you cannot exceed 252 pluggable. I don't know if on 12C release 2 is more than that, maybe, or maybe not. So you can see that you may have a maximum of 252 pluggable for one container, per container. Okay, so it's impossible. So let me keep 3 pluggables as per the assignment. And let's move to next. We need to configure Express. If you have OEM cloud control, we don't have it configured here. If somebody configure it on a virtual box, he or she can use it. So we don't have OEM cloud control, so you may not use this option. But at work, you will have it. So you may need to specify what you call the OMS, and I will talk about this one. That is one of the topics I will talk about during the summaries. Our last week, we'll be talking about this one. So since we don't have it, we disable it. But the Express is free. Every database can call the Express. So this is just the port. So you click on it if you want to, but me, I want to. So I click on it, to next. You guys, from here, you guys know what happened. So whatever password you want. Yeah, so you guys know this. Okay, for me, there's already a listener. Why? Because with the morning class, I created a listener. All the ports are open in Frontend, most of them. So that's why I chose a random port was open. For you, you may not have a listener. So you will have to, if you don't have, you may need to come here and check this box, put your listener name, and just put the port. You can put 1522, 1523, because 1521, I think, is busy for some of you. Okay, so if you don't have a listener, you can create one here. Just put the listener name, then put the port. But I already have one, so I don't want to create another one again. So I just make sure I check it, and the status is up, so I'm good. Go to next. Now this page as well, another page. This, if you want to use a data file from a template, that means there's a template that was created and you want to use that template to create a database. You can choose this option. I'll talk about template later. Common location, as you guys know, where you want to store your data files. Okay, you guys may decide to keep it here or just keep on Oracle data. Okay, it's up to you. Yeah, if you click on Oracle Manage File, it will be the same thing as I told you guys earlier. Okay, so it means that you can decide to multiplex from here, and Oracle Manage File, Oracle will choose the naming convention for you. Okay, and so on. I don't. Okay, so I'll check it. Okay, the type of recovery. Okay, we still file system. If you are using ASM, you choose ASM below. So I'll talk about ASM again, as I said, right? So you can decide to configure your FRA right from here. Okay, you guys know where your FRA are located. Your FRA is located. Okay, so you know, for you guys, or a data FRA. For me, okay, I don't know. I don't know about you. So just you can sell the FRA right from here. You can sell the size right from here as well. Gigabyte, and you can enable archiving you want to. So this is for those who want to do it at once. They don't want to go again on the command line and issue this command. You guys know. So you can do everything from here. Parameter you need to change. You want to change the format. You can change the format here. Okay. You can put ARC or whatever format you want. That works for you. Or want to change the archive destination, you can put different destination here because the default archive destination is FRA. Okay. If under FRA, there will be a directory created called archive log. Okay. But if you want it to go somewhere else, you may need to specify the path. And by specifying the path, another copy will go to that location. We talk about archive destination in the next project called data guide. So I don't want to do that now. Okay. So just do this option. Okay. That's good. Next. And this one is for those who have Vault. Database Vault is where we store security details, okay? Like credential, keys, master keys, or maybe SSH keys, whatever is comes to security, they are stored in a vault. And most of the time there's an owner for the vault, okay? So we don't have vault configure. So these options are not valid for us. At work, they may be available, but you just need to specify this credential. They will give you this, okay? They will give you, if you want a different account manager or you want, they will give you all these things in case they have it, okay? They will give you this. And the size, remember we are creating a container, so there should be enough SDA, enough space, okay? So I may choose 700 or 600. Don't take something small, okay? You may use automatic memory management if you want to, or automatic share memory management as are unchecked. If you want to allocate SDA manually, you can come ahead, you can come here, you do manual share management, you allocate buffer cache size manually, okay? This is done by experienced DBAs because they know, based on their experience in the environment, okay, that maybe more buffer cache is needed by the share pool and so on. That is from people who have been working on tuning a long time ago in that environment. But for you, you may not use this. You may use automatic share management. If you want to give a bigger size to the SDA than the PGA, you can do that. Okay, so it's up to you. But me, let's assume I want only this, okay? I want to give 600 and I want Oracle to decide which percentage you want to give you the SDA and which percentage you want to give you the PGA. And you guys can see here that you can save a template. Whenever, if you save this as a template, it means that the structure of this creation, okay, will be stored somewhere in a template location. Okay, it's located somewhere as Oracle I think is Oracle Home Assistant GBCA template. That location, the template will be stored there, so that you can use that template to create this database in across multiple servers. You don't need to call GBCA every time. It is exactly like the response file when I was talking about the installation. So you can use it whenever a template is created, you can use it to create multiple other databases, because the only thing you may need to change is just the database name. And when I'm building RAC, I will tell you guys that the template can be used to convert a single instance into RAC. Okay, we can still use templates. So I don't need that now. You guys know this, okay? Set as a script, up to you. So somebody can decide to store files at a different location, customize. When you decide to customize a data file, this data file for the container only. Control file. By default, the control file are different location. I see one is on Oradata, another one is FRA. This is for fault tolerance, okay? If you want to add, you can add multiplex, okay? You want to delete, and delete, okay? Same thing for redo. You want to add, redo group, add. Delete, you delete, okay? You want to increase the size, you increase, okay? Same thing here, you can increase. Okay, so yes, Oradata is the GB unique name. That means what's the GB unique name of the database? Let's assume we created Beacon. The GB unique name is the instance name, which can be Beacon as well. So I could put it there. So if you want to put another directory, you just put it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you can customize here. And next, we check the prerequisite. If for you it failed the prerequisite level, Oracle will tell you what you have to fix. And as I told you guys, sometimes Oracle can give you a script to go and run. We can give you a summary of whatever you have done. The database name, it is a single instance. It's a container, yes. It has 3 pluggables, yes. This is the prefix of the pluggable, Beacon PDB. That means all the pluggables will start with Beacon PDB. It's automatic share memory management. It's a general purpose. These are all the Oracle components. Whenever you are upgrading a database, these are the components that are updated. So these are the Oracle components. The audit destination, you guys know that. The block size, the control file location, okay, the undo table space. All of them will share the same undo on the 12.1. Okay. SJ size, VJ size, open cursors, processes. You see now on 12C, the processes is 300 instead of 150. You guys are familiar with. Yeah, these are the table space for the data for the container. You will not see the data file for these are the table space, okay? You will not see the data file of the pluggable here. Once you create them, you will see the data file of the pluggable. Control file and the Houdilog group size. Okay, once you are done, finish, and that's it. Any question?
Yes. Why are the control files in different directories?
For fault tolerance, because let's assume all my control files are on /Oradata/ whatever, and for any reason that disk is corrupted or is dropped, or for any reason there's something wrong on that disk, that means I will lose both control file, and it will be more difficult for me to recover my database because I don't have a control file. But if I have them on different locations and I lose one, I can just multiplex the other one to create that one.
Okay. And to this database that you're creating, can you add pluggable? Can you add, like, because you selected 3, like if say you change your mind, can you come in and reconfigure it?
You can just go back, right? Even after the creation, you can add after the creation even.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that is one of the exercise people your classmates have to do. They can add a new pluggable using GBC, as I made mention of.
And when you're asking for scripts here, like how do you?
That means those who are using command, they may have script, right? But if you are using GBC, you may not have script. That means a script, the steps you follow, right, to do that. You don't need to provide it to me. Remove this note. Don't worry about this note. I don't need that, okay? Just the script can be used by your classmate. Let's assume somebody comes and show us manually how to clone or how to convert. This is a manual operation. So the person has steps. Those steps is what I call scripts. So you can provide it to your classmate. Those who fail to do that can use that script to do it. That's what I call by script. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Question.
Yes, sir.
So when creating the database, like for the control files where they are in different locations, so can I still put them in the same location when I'm doing the editing, like /aura data, then put the beacon, the name, like the
Sure,
beacon?
yes, of course, you can. If you pay attention, I can still do that. I can still, if you want to do that here.
Okay, that's fine.
FRE do that, okay? You still have the option to do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Questions?
So sir,
Yes, sir.
the location you directing the control file to be at, have you already created it, or or it's gonna automatically be created?
You can see that by default, Oracle put DB unique name because Oracle that by default, whenever you create a database, you specify the common location for data files. Oracle will automatically create a directory for you to store your data files. Okay, so you can see here that Oracle mentioned GB unique name. It means that even if I don't have a directory, okay, a directory which is the GB unique name of the database existing, Oracle will create one for me. But if I want to store it somewhere else, I may need to change, update, remove GB unique name, and specify the directory I created for my data file or control file. So you can decide, okay? But if you leave Oracle doing its job, Oracle will create a directory itself and store those files there. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Questions? All right, so just finish.
So I was wondering, so when you go to WinSCP, like the procedure will be the same, right? Like getting in there is gonna appear the same?
Yes, from WinSCP you can view all the data. Yes, you can see everything will be the same from WinSCP, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
To use the database that we create on 11C.
Your voice is very low, sir. Please, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Please, can you raise your voice, please?
Yes.
Mute. I think maybe you have two devices. Can you mute one of them?
Okay.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. You can hear me now.
Yeah, sorry. And I was saying that do we have to drop all the databases that we create on 11C, or is it possible to use them in 12C?
Okay. Again, that's what I said, that if, the company wants to take advantage of 12C new features or to take advantage of multi-tenancy, they may have to upgrade those databases to 12C, okay? But the upgrade the database from 11 to 12C is not always your decision. You are not always the one who decide to do that. Most of the time, the order comes from the application. That means from the application team, because they are the one who use the database. Maybe they are upgrading the application, and the application needs a database that is running on 12c for the new application version they have. Let's assume that you're on WhatsApp and they upgraded the WhatsApp application to a higher version. But they say that for the new version of you are upgraded to, the application vendor recommends that the database version should be at least 12c. So they will request you guys to upgrade the database to 12c. Okay, but if they don't see a need to upgrade the database to 12c, some database will still stay on 11G. That is why you will get your companies and they still have 11G databases, even 10G databases. Okay, so it's not mandatory for you to go to 12C. Oracle will stop the support. Yes, they will no longer help you if you encounter an internal error, a bug, but you can still manage your database on 11G or 10G if the application relies on that. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we gonna do the practical like to update from 11 to 12?
We will do that. That's a project, right?
Okay.
Yeah, of course, that's a project. That is the second project after data guide. So we'll be upgrading from 11 to 12. Yes. We apply patches. It's the project. So we do that. So another question before I move to concept, because I wanted to launch this because I know it will take some time. While we are talking about the concept, we will come back at the end just for practicals. Any question on this installation? Right, so you have the analog here for those who want to keep track of the, I also show you guys how to keep track of something that is running live using the tail command, okay? You can also go on the command line and issue the tail command to keep track of this, okay? So that you see if it's failing or not. So you can keep track of it, okay? So, yeah.
One more question, please.
Yes.
About Enterprise Manager. So does this mean we have two different Enterprise Manager now?
Yes, now you have Enterprise Manager Express. Yes, the one on 11G, the one on 12C will look different from the one on 11G. If you guys have not done it, on Monday, the group, we can display Enterprise Manager, or myself, I will display it for you. The Enterprise Manager Express on 12C is a bit different. It's a bit simpler than the other one and more simplified. There are some things you cannot find on it, but it will look different definitely from the 11G. Okay, and let's not forget that a lot of companies use the Express. Why? Because even though we have an Enterprise Manager called Enterprise Manager Cloud Control, okay, even though we have that one, you cannot load all the databases to that Enterprise Manager. You cannot connect all the databases in that environment, especially if you have a big environment of thousands of databases. So some of them that are not very critical can be monitored, especially some of the test databases can be monitored using the Express. You'll be enabled here. That Express will make it easier because you can troubleshoot performance issues from there. You don't need the OEM Cloud Control to troubleshoot performance issues. Even the Express is enough for you to detect bugs, to detect, okay, wait event and whatever you want, right from there and fix it, okay? So it's useful. You can take time to see how to connect to that and navigate. It's important. Any other question? Okay, guys. So we come back again, okay, as I said, after the database created, we come back after the break and we do some small stuff just for me to, show you some more details. So Last class, I explained, okay, one of the feature of, okay, 12c, and that was the multi-tenancy. And I said that this is just an addition, okay? So it means that on top of what you know, Oracle added this and other features. So this one is a good feature because you can have, okay, consolidation. You can consolidate multiple databases into one container, okay? And I think by now we know that the container is also called a root, and whatever you put on the container are called pluggables, okay? And it's very easy for us when it comes to management, okay? You can easily upgrade, you can easily patch, okay? I think I have a slide on this one right below. And as you can see, the non-container is not that different from the non-container on 12c. Let me see there. Okay, yes, this one is just to say that on 12c, we still have the multi-tenancy and the non-container architecture you have. But I think on 18c or I think 19c, you no longer have non-container. So it's mandatory for you to have containers. Okay, so we are not there yet. So and also there's no difference from the client. I said that the way the application team was connecting, they will still connect the same way, unless when you are converting a non-container into pluggable, you change the name. But if you keep the same name, they will still connect the same way. They don't know what happened behind the scene. The connection string will stay the same, okay? If you are doing it on the same host. So they are not affected, basically. The client is not affected. And we should also know that pluggables are different. They are not dependent, okay? Even though they are connected to the same container, they are sharing some resources, right? But they are different. It means that I can create a user on PDB1 on one pluggable. I call the user Scott, and I go to the other pluggable. I create another user called Scott again. So it's possible to create the same user in multiple pluggables. It's like multiple different databases. Some of you have ORCL, GLSDMO. You guys can notice that on all of them, you have Scott user. So it means it's the same thing. They are different. You guys can still create database link as you guys did before because they are different databases. You can set up Golden Gate. We talk about Golden Gate. That's the third project, okay? To replicate data from one pluggable to another pluggable. So it's the same. So whatever you have been doing so far before is the same, but you just have some few enhancements. These are some of the key benefits you have from the multi-tenancy alone. Consolidation again, as I said, okay? All of them are consolidated in one container. They can share the same memory and background processes. We understand this. Rapid provisioning and cloning. What does it mean? It means that it's way easier for me now to create a pluggable than the way we were creating single instance databases before. Just one command is enough for me to create a pluggable. Just on VNC, on DBC, you guys can also see that it's very easy. So it's easier for me to create a pluggable now. One line on C++, one line can create a pluggable. Even to clone an existing pluggable, if I have a pluggable called PDB1 and I want to clone it, I don't need to follow this big step you guys have been doing so far. Only one line is enough for me to clone a pluggable. One line from C++ is enough. I think on GBC you can also do that. It's very easy. So that's why it's rapid provisioning. Just need a couple of minutes, okay, for it to be completed. No headache. Rapid patching and upgrade. I said that because all of them are under one container, by upgrading the container or by upgrading the root, automatically all the pluggable will also be upgraded. So I don't need to upgrade them individually. So you see that it make it more easier and faster. That's why it's rapid patching and upgrade. And this one is also good. It also goes with the consolidation, multiple database as one. That you can use it for backups. Once you do backup, you can configure backup for one, add it at the container level. And when you take the backup at the container level, it can help you to back up all the pluggables. Backup. So like for instance, this document you guys have, this script you guys have. Okay, if somebody wants to back up at the container level, it's the same as you did before. So if I want to back up, if I issue rman target slash, it means I'm connecting to the container. If I want to back up only a particular pluggable, I issue rman target, I put username, password, and I put at the PDB name. Okay, even though you see container target container here, but you are connected to the pluggable. Okay, so and it can help you to back up only that pluggable. You see here when I do backup database, only the files from PDB3 are backed up. This one is just for auto backup. But let's assume I just do rman target slash, like you guys usually do, and you do backup database. You can see now that we have its first set of files for the container itself, because the container will come with these files by default. Those files will be stored in one backup set. Another set of files, which is for the seed, no, the PDB1, sorry. The first pluggable will be stored in its own backup set. Another set of files for the second pluggable, PDB2, will be stored in its own backup set. Another set of files, PDB3, will be stored in its own backup set. Another set of files for the seed will be stored in its backup set. And for the auto backup, if it's enabled, it will be stored in its own backup set. So we see now that once we just issue rman target slash, we are backing up at the container level, and it will back up everything, all the pluggables. Okay, so it's a bigger operation. Okay, so that is for instance. So you guys have this with you. It will be good practice for you to do that. And dynamic between pluggable database resource management. I say that since pluggables are sharing the same resources, they are sharing the same background processes, the same CPU, the same memory, the same processes. One pluggable may use more for any reason. Let's assume a developer is trying to test a big code from the dev environment. Because more processes maybe are needed, or CPU, that dev database may grab resources from other databases, or it may grab everything from the container, which maybe you don't want, because you don't want to give a lot of priorities to dev databases. They are not more important than productions. Let's assume that all of them are in the same container. What happens is you may decide to set what we call CDB resource management. And with CDB resource management, you can allocate resources per pluggable. Okay, you can give share. You can say, okay, the most important pluggable has 4 share. The other one has 2 share. The other one has 1 share. So you give them resources based on their importance. Okay, so that is how you can. I think, I don't know if I gave you that one, but maybe I did not give you document. Morning class, Oracle research. See that is checked here. So this is more likely this one. So this document is a very good document that for those who want to know more about how we set up resource management, is well explained here, okay? How we use the GBMS resource manager package to set up resource management or to set up resource plan, okay? It is here, okay? So again, for you guys, I will send it to you guys as well on the chat. Those who want to keep it, maybe in the future or don't know, we try to do some of them. It's also good to try things if you have time. So I send it to the chat. Whoever wants it can just copy from there and save somewhere or download the document because you can download it. It's very, I like the document because it's very explicit, okay? Myself, I've used it before, so you can also use it. Just spend some time and read if you are interested. It's 26 pages. Not that huge, is it? So it's basically, that's the usage of resource management, okay? It's very, very important. It's important whenever multiple people are sharing resources. It's the same thing, eh? Let's assume even on your database. On your database, you can set resource management. Let's assume you have a database called ORCL. But on ORCL, you have multiple users. You guys know that the 6th user is the more important user, the most important user. You may have other application users. So if you can set up resource management as well at database level, you may say that, okay, sys who belongs to the administrative group, we have more resources, followed by this other type of people, followed by this other type of job. So you can also do that. Even on 11G, it's not a 12C feature. It is also available on 11G. But on 11G, we don't have a plan for pluggables. We have only the regular resource management, not the PDB resource management, because PDB resource management starts with 12C. And before I stop somewhere, these are some disadvantages we mentioned, okay? We said that a license is needed, it's not free. If you don't want to pay the license, you will have a maximum of 1 pluggable per container. So if you want more pluggables, then pay the license. Another disadvantage is that you have to upgrade the database to 12C if you want to take advantage of multi-tenancy. So it means that if you're not on 12C, you may not take advantage of multi-tenancy because on 11G, we don't have that. We have it only on 12C onward. So you may need to upgrade the database to 12C in order to take advantage of multi-tenancy. And on 12C, on 12C multi-tenant architecture, the architecture is a bit different. If you guys can see, now we no longer have, now we have pluggables. The architecture differs a little bit from what you guys know, because you will have the system table space of the container and the system table space for each pluggable, for instance. So it looks a bit different. So you may need to learn the new architecture, especially for the multi-tenant architecture. It has multiple other disadvantages whenever it also comes to the maintenance. Let's assume the same example I took with the application. Let's assume I have 50 pluggables connected to a container. And I want to perform some maintenance activities, maybe patches. I want to apply the latest release update or the latest patch provided by Oracle, or the latest one-off patch provided by Oracle. We talk about patching the next in part of the project. And sometimes the patching requires database reboot. You need to bounce the database. And before you bounce the database, you need an approval from the application team. So that means they need to approve the maintenance window you want to set up. We tell them, okay, my dear users, I will be bouncing my database from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Please, I want to set up a maintenance window from that time. That means they should expect the downtime between 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Let's assume you are dealing with a 24/7 application that cannot afford 3 hours downtime. They may not accept it, or they may decide to choose another time for the maintenance. And maybe the other time they are choosing may not also work with other applications, because multiple applications are connected to the pluggable. So you see that in order for them to come together to approve at the maintenance at the same time is quite difficult. So sometimes, whenever you want to reboot the database, you have to reboot all the pluggable for a change to be applied. Sometimes it becomes difficult if one of the application is not prepared for that. If one of the application owner is not prepared for that, and you may need to find techniques. And some people find some techniques if between 50 databases pluggable, 48 agree, and 2 do not, you can just unplug those 2 and plug them to another container and just patch, just reboot the others. So those 2 will stay on their container, and we patch the others, and we can bring them back later on. So they will not have that downtime. They will not have that, okay? They will not, the application won't be down for that during the maintenance, okay? So that's not, it's a bit disadvantageous, okay? Because to get to that agreement is very complicated. Since sometimes application users are different, they can belong to different application teams. So they may not accept the maintenance to take place at the same time. Okay, so that is how it is. And that is not something very good. But if all of them accept, you are good. You not have headache. Okay, any question on what I said so far till now?
Hi, please, you probably already answered this, but I just wanted to verify. So, you said during the setup, you could add different locations to the flash recovery area. So I was just wondering, so if you want to back up your databases and you want each backup to go to different locations, is there a way to do that?
Yeah, you set up backup destination, right? You guys set up backup destination. You guys ever tried that? You can back up to disk, right?
Yeah, on Arman, yeah.
Arman, right? You can set up backup destination. Yes, it's up to you. That one is different, right? You can say archive logs. Archive logs are the ones sometimes you don't control when they are generated. So those destinations I made mention of were for the archive log. So you want to set up multiple archive log destination. Okay, so, and you will see the usage of that when we do the data guide, the next project, because multiple database, one database can have multiple archive log destination. Okay, so we'll talk about that. But for backups, you decide on Arman where you want to set up. If you don't change it on Arman by default, you guys know where it will go, right? FRA. But if you want to set up, you can set up to disk or to tape on Arman, configure it. Device type, you mention the tape, you mention the path. So that one is different, and control that one. Does it make sense what I said?
Yes, it does.
Great. Okay. And this is a brief summary of what is container and pluggable. Okay. As a reminder, a container comes with control files. That means this control file is the control file for all the pluggables. Whatever file you see here is for all the pluggables. So the control file will contain control file information. The information found are for all the pluggables. That's why it's more. You can see that control file will put in different location, so that the crash of one control file will not, okay, affect the other control file. We put them in different locations. You can also multiplex them. You guys learn how to multiplex. You have done it. So the data files such as system 6aux are also for all the pluggables. So they're also critical. So if any of these files are corrupted, the entire container is affected. It will also affect all the pluggables. So we have a general undo for all a general undo as well, okay? General temp file, general Houdou logs. You can see that when we were creating a database, we had Houdou logs. That Houdou logs, we store Houdou information for all the pluggables as well. And the data dictionary, okay, is also for all the pluggables. So it stores information of all the pluggables. Now, when it comes to a pluggable level, it contains only its own information. Like what? Each pluggable also has its own system tablespace. Local, its own 6aux tablespace. Local, its own user's tablespace. That means its user's data may not be the same as the user's data found in another pluggable. That is what makes the difference. Because they are different databases, they may not have the same data. Okay. And on 12.2, 12C release 2 onward, each pluggable may have its own undo tablespace. It's just an enhancement for 12C release 2. You can see here, this is what somebody asked me as a question, right? Every pluggable within the same container must be at the same Oracle database software version. Okay, so again, I cannot validate whether on 19C it is the same or okay, but I know that up to 18, I think all of them should have the same version. And if you hear somewhere a pluggable is a full database, it's still as the normal database, okay? But the container or the root is the metadatabase because it's not, it is not meant to function as a regular database. It's just there, you know, because it is there as the container just to host common resources for the pluggable. So it means that application you can, but it's not important. It's not useful for you to be pointing application to the container. Application should be connected to pluggables, okay? So that's why you call it metadatabase, because it's just there to store metadata information. It doesn't store data, okay? Doesn't help to store user's data. You don't store user data in a container. User data is stored in the pluggable, okay? So you guys should know the difference between a container and a pluggable. And I think I explained the concept of local users and common users. Local user is any users created at the PDB level. So if I connect to a particular pluggable and I create a user, that user is a local user. Okay? If I create a role on a particular pluggable, it's a local role. And that user will never access the root because that user will be limited. Its privileges are limited only to the pluggable. So you cannot go out of that pluggable. But a common user, unlike a local user, is created at the container level or at the root level. And that user may have access to all the pluggables or some of the pluggables. You can see here, for instance, how we create a common user. The way you create a local user is as usual, okay? Create user, whatever identified by whatever account unlock or tablespace, temporary tablespace, whatever. You guys know that one. It's the same for local user. But for common user, you need to add C ##. Okay. You always have to put C ## before you put the username. Okay. And once you put container all, it means that you want this user to have access to all the pluggables. If you want particular pluggable, you will list them here. You put container equal PDB1, PDB2. This user will access only PDB1 and PDB2. But a common user is more powerful than a local user because a common user can connect to the container, and also it can also connect to a pluggable, to one or multiple pluggables. Meanwhile, the local user can stay or can connect only to the pluggable where it's created. It's local, okay? It's local user. And last area, you can see, okay. You can see a command, for instance, on how to switch from the container to the pluggable. So it means if I have a common user that is at the container level, you don't need to exit SQL to come back to the pluggable. No, you can just issue this command, access session set container, you just put a pluggable name, and you will just switch from that container to the pluggable. You can come back from the pluggable to the container if you are a common user, okay? You will do that today. And also, yeah, if you want a user to access just some particular pluggable, as I said, you can see that container, this user will be able to access the data of PDB1, PDB02, and the root. So I'm giving the permission to this user. Okay, so this is another, if you want the user to access the data of every pluggable, you can put container data equal all. All this command can be used. Okay, this is what I explained about resource management. Okay, it can help you to manage concurrent sessions, CPU. I'll explain this one basically. Okay, so this is just a difference between a non-container, okay, a non-CDB and an empty CDB. Okay, so you can see here, I think somebody asked me that question before. Okay, the difference between a non-container and an empty container. Okay, so, and I said that the empty container is more easier for you because you can easily add a pluggable to it, okay, and or clone or do everything. So you can see some other differences here, okay. So, but they are not that different. And some operation you can perform at the PDB level. You can unplug a pluggable from a container. You can plug a pluggable to a container, okay? You can plug a pluggable in a container, okay? Or you can unplug from a container. You can clone, okay? You can create a brand new pluggable, and you can drop an existing pluggable. So, some 12C new features apart from the multi-tenancy we learned. We have what we call, okay, we already learned this one, okay? Maintenance or backup, whatever can be used, okay? The multi-tenancy can allow you to do this. But now, if you guys pay attention, if some of you tried before, you cannot recover a table on 11G alone. You cannot perform table point-in-time recovery. What you guys have done so far till now is table space point-in-time recovery. So you can just bring back an entire table space as it was in the past, but not an individual table, unless you want to use flashback. So on 12C now, you have the option to recover or to restore one particular table on RMAN. So that is possible now. And I think I provided a document here that can help you guys to see a scenario I perform to do that. And this is just a requirement. You should have a backup of the undo, the system, the syspause, and the table space that contains the table. It's just a requirement before you do that. On 12C now onward, you can execute SQL statement. So you can shut down, you can issue some command, not all type of SQL statement, but some of them you can run them from RMAN now. On 12c onward, you have a new system privilege called sys backup. Before 12c, to perform a backup, you have to be connected as system, as sys user or system user. You have to be admin user. But on 12c onward, you can dedicate the task to a non-GBE, to a non-admin user. You can create any regular user and just grant this privilege to that user, and the user will be able to perform backups. On 12c, you have invisible columns. So you can make a column invisible. Let's assume you don't want people to see other employees, social securities, while you are doing a refresh. That means you are refreshing the database from production to lower environment. You don't want the developer to see that. Some data, you can make that column invisible. So for someone to be able to view that column, the person should explicitly specify the column name in the select clause or the update clause. So if you issue select all, you won't display the column. So you should know the column name, okay? This is basically for security reasons. And this is how you can enable it. And the table creation, you can do this way, or you can alter a table and make a column invisible. Another feature is advanced index compression. On 12c, you can compress indexes, okay? You can compress them. And compression is just basically to reduce space, okay? It comes with its benefit. It comes with advantages and disadvantages. Whenever you compress, you are saving space, okay? Yes, you are using space more efficiently. But let's not forget that sometimes compression comes with slownesses. Sometimes it comes with more resource usage. So let's assume I was taking 5 seconds before to access, okay, some data. Now, sometimes to insert, okay, in a block, with compression, sometimes can take more time. So sometimes compression can come with slownesses or more CPU use. We have what we call approximate count distinct. This is a function inbuilt in 12c. It comes a little bit, to resolve performance issues we faced with the count function. Whenever you guys issue select count from scott.emp, normally it should return the number of rows, right? Based on the select statement you issue. Sometimes for some type of SQL statement, it takes longer. So basically on 12c, they created another one that is more faster than the count. Okay, so if this one was taking 10 minutes, this one can be more faster, maybe 1, 2. But there's a big danger behind this. As you see the name, approximate, sometimes for some scenario, based on statistics available, it may not give you the exact number of rows. So better you keep using what you were using before. But for some reason, some people just want estimate. So that it's also good. Sometimes you don't need, you just want to see an estimate of something. You don't want to know the exact value. So that is really help for those who want to do that. On 12c, we also have what we call in-memory column store. It means that we have an additional memory area in the SGA. So that means in addition to the share pool, as you guys know, you guys have an in-memory area that you should allocate some space to that area. Show parameter memory, you will see in-memory, whatever there. So the in-memory area is used, to store frequently accessed data, or you can even store some object in the in-memory area in a columnar format. I don't want to get very deeper into columnar format because it will be more confusing. So I want you just know that you just put the data in a columnar format so that the retrieval will be more faster. So imagine now you have a table or some important column of a table that can be found in memory. it means that will totally reduce, the amount of physical read. So it means the server process may not need to go to the disk to grab some data because it's already present in the memory. Okay, so that is something that you can do on 12c. And let's know that it is volatile. It's normal, right? Because it's in the memory. And whenever we talk about memory, instance, SGA, PGA, if you have a crash, normally you lose every definitely good for performance. So you can set up in memory area, okay? It's possible. And finally, we have what we call JSON support. We have multiple types of programming language that run on the database, okay? You guys may have a Java job that are running, you may have Python, you may have C++, you may have JSON is another type of language, okay, that some developers use a lot. And it's easier to understand for me, okay? Me not being a developer, easier for me to even write a JSON code, okay, than writing a Java code, more complicated. So JSON code is a type of code, just by looking at the code, it's easier to understand. Some of the document, you guys don't know a technology called MongoDB. It's a type of database, NoSQL. Most of the time, JSON code are mostly used in NoSQL environment, also on SQL environment. So just know that it's a type of language that are used by developers. And Oracle 12c supports JSON code. Okay. So these are some features that are specific to 12c. And we have more features. I think I showed in the morning. We have more features like I already talk about invisible column. You have unified auditing. So instead of you having multiple audit threads, like you guys know, you have audit thread for that, the type of audit thread you guys know. Some of them are on different locations. The unified auditing, all the audit threads are stored in one location. It's also good. You can monitor everything from your central location. And on 12c, you can rebuild an index while users can still access the table. Because even though on 11g you can rebuild an index, but when you rebuild an index, the users cannot access the table at that time. The table is offline. So, but on 12c, you can access the table while we are rebuilding the index. We can also encrypt a table space while it is online. For those who did TDE, you guys know that the table space was not online. It was, I think, read-only mode or something like that before you can encrypt it. And on 12c as well, on 11g, you guys know that whenever you granted resource to somebody, automatically that person has unlimited table space system privilege. On 12c, you no longer have that permission, that system privilege in their resource role. So if you grant resource to somebody, it doesn't mean automatically the person will have unlimited table space privilege. So you may also need to grant a quota on a particular table space to the user. So other 12c new feature will be found on other technologies like RAC, Golden Gate, we're talking about. Okay, I don't want to bring them here. So we'll talk about them when we get there. Any question?
So you're saying that from now on, when we're creating a user, we'll have to, because usually we'll grant connect resource. Now we'll have to grant unlimited table space.
No. I just said that you can still grant resource, but from now you should know that whenever you are granting a resource, that user will no longer have unlimited table space privilege. Okay. So you may need to grant permission on a particular table space to that user. Again, because on 11g, whenever somebody granted a resource, it's good. You can access any table space, any user's table space, right? You can just do things. But now on 12C, we no longer have it. If I grant you resource, I still need to grant you some quota on existing table spaces again. Otherwise, you won't be able to use the table space. You won't be able to store your data on any table space in the environment.
So can you just grant unlimited, or?
You can, yes, you can grant unlimited if you want to. Later, yes, explicitly you can grant unlimited table space privilege, explicitly, in addition to resource, yes.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, concerning the point in time recovery you made mention on with Arman. And you said when we are using our 11G and 11G, we can't do point in time recovery using Arman with table, right? Only with table spaces, right?
Yes.
So my question now is, when we are using 12G, how are we going to do the point in time recovery with a table? Is it like we're going to take it from the backup location and recover it, or we are still doing the same cloning?
The procedure is, instead of putting everything in the same, you just need to know when the time, what do you call that?
Like the SCNC number or what?
No, I know we had the SCN. The other.
A restore point.
I know you have a restore point, no? Okay, but the other one, when it comes to time, there's a name for that. Oh, maybe I'm tired. I'm not coming. We have date. Once we have date, timestamp. Thank you, sir.
Timestamp.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you just need to know the timestamp, okay? When it was dropped, the exact timestamp, the date, the hour, the minute, the second. Once you have it, you just come to Arman and you just issue a recover table until you put the time. That's it. No complication. Okay.
So I know. So is it? I don't know the process. Is it like doing but the same cloning, or is recovery?
It's recovery, right? It's not table cloning. Recovery.
So like, is it recovering from the backup location where you probably have?
Yes, you need a backup of that table. You need to make sure that you have the backup, right, available.
Okay, I see. You specify the backup location.
No, you don't specify backup location. You specify auxiliary location. You guys, when you were doing table space, whatever, you guys never specify auxiliary location.
Yes, we did that. So I was talking about cloning.
Or for you are taking it as a cloning?
That's just the way I understand it. Because
for cloning, it was Arman duplicate, right? Duplicate database.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying like when we were doing the table space point in time recovery, the processes that was taking place behind, we had
Yeah. Yes, you're correct. Yes. What happened is an auxiliary instance will be created and Oracle will move some object that instance and later on it will be dropped. Yes, you can see the procedure of what happens. That's why I kept all the steps here so that you can see what happens behind the scene. Because it's an interview question, what you are saying. If you are interviewing with some experienced DBA, they may need to know if you understand what's going on behind. And that's why I kept all those steps in the notepad for you to pay attention to every single operation that's taking place. Yes, so it's like a cloning behind the scene, followed by a restore. Another question? So, okay, let me just do this in 3 minutes, then we go on break, we come back. So this one is just operation, okay? Just operation. So how to create a pluggable manually, you guys see that just one command, okay? It's enough. You can see here how easy it is. How to connect your pluggable. If you want to switch from a container to pluggable, you just use this one. You will do that, okay? At the OS level, you have to issue Secret Plus, you put the name, the password, at pluggable. If you want to connect assist DBA, you put assist DBA. Okay. If you are not an administrative user, what happened is the administrator of the pluggable is a PDB admin. Okay, so there's an admin of the pluggable. He's like the sys of pluggable. Okay, so you can connect to the pluggable as the PDB admin using a sysdba. Any other regular user may not need this sysdba. You just need to put username, password, add for the PDB name. You can unplug. You can see how to unplug. Unplug, you just make sure you close the pluggable. Just do this. And if you want to drop it, you drop it. Okay? So you guys will, the assignment, so you will check that. And to migrate a pluggable to a container, I think all this is found on the notepad provided here. Convert a non-container to a pluggable. So it's fine. To clone as well, it's also easy, one line. And to drop as well is also easy. You can decide to drop including data file, or you can drop the pluggable, but you still keep the data file of that pluggable. The data file, you can use the data file to create another pluggable using the data file. Okay, so that's all. Okay, these are all the basics of 12c. Okay, and we will come back and connect and do some stuff there now. Okay, so let's take a 15-minute break, and we come back, we complete with practicals. Okay, so let's come back at 7:25.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can provide this document for us now.
I provided everything. If you pay attention to your chat, WhatsApp chat, everything is provided. Everything is provided. I provided everything. The day I was posting the PowerPoint, I posted everything. So just go back on your WhatsApp and you will find everything there.
The PowerPoint is there too?
Are you in class, sir?
Yes, no. I said the PowerPoint is there because I know.
Everything is there.
Okay.
I'm unable to see the PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll go see.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. So pay attention. Everything is there. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's meet let's come back at 7:25, okay? And complete that. Okay, see you shortly. So the first thing you should be doing now, no. Let me do this like this. Okay. So if you see now, you can see only the container running. You cannot see the pluggables running because all of them have one instance, right? So it's normal for you to see only the container running, okay? So you see all the listener, you guys know this. So see all the listener running here. So this is the listener that I created on 12c that is running here. You can just confirm by seeing the home, okay, from where the listener is running. All right. If I want to connect to your container, it is listener control. You choose listener. Yeah. For this one, you can see that, okay, for the listener, you can now see the pluggable somewhere, okay? Beacon, PDB2, Beacon, PDB3, Beacon, PDB1, same thing for Acon, okay? So the listener can listen to them. So let's see if we can connect to them directly. Why is it failing? Can someone tell me why?
I think you have to establish a two-tier connection.
Two-tier connection? No, I don't think so.
The TNS name.
Okay, very good. TNS.
The Beacon PDB1 is not registered in the TNS thing.
Okay, so you need to register in the TNS name.aura. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Okay, good. You're right. Okay, so before we do that, okay, so that means if you go to CD Oracle home / network, like admin, yeah, to the path. So you should see that, okay, you should see the SQLnet TNS name and listener. You guys can see a lot of stuff here, okay? Let me remove all these backups. I don't need this backup anymore. So, I'll tell you the reason behind. Oh, it's RM, sorry. So, what's happening is that in any environment, before you update any file, make sure you create a backup of that file. Any file, okay? Because you can make a mistake. So, what happened is on my TNS, I updated it earlier with one of the pluggables, okay? Already here. You can see the content of my, let me put, the screen is not that good. You can see the content of my TNS actually. So we can see that on my TNS, we have only the container. So that's why I can connect to the container. If I do SQL plus stage as 6 DBA, I told you that whenever you issue this command, you are connected to the container. So you see, oh, no, I did not set the environment, sorry. Oh. So if I set the environment, say beacon. It's beacon, right? I think it was beacon, yeah. Beacon, okay. I can connect to the container because it's already registered in the chain.aura. But if we try to connect to the pluggable, as we try, like this, it's failing because it was not there. Okay, so simply because whenever you create a database, you guys know by default Oracle will put the database in the chain.aura. So what Oracle will put there is the container, not the pluggables. Okay, so you can see this thing, very important, that is for local connection. You can see that for Beacon, Oracle created a path to a local listener for Beacon in order for Beacon to connect to the database. Like for Acon, Oracle created a local listener for Acon to connect. Otherwise, I will tell you why we do this. So basically, we need to add, okay, the other guy there. Add a pluggable, okay? Our classmate suggested. So just need to copy, okay? Insert mode, hit enter, and just, okay, you guys know this. So Beacon PDB1, the port, okay? Please, I'm not forcing you guys to use this port. You guys can use any other port, okay? So I just did that on purpose. So PDB1, oh, sorry, 1. So that's it, that's the only thing I have to do, okay?
Please, sorry. So you say the port, so we can make up our own port. Can we use the same one as the listener we currently have?
No, try, but you can use 1522, 1523. I think that one is already busy. Okay. So now that you guys can do that for all the pluggables, okay? All the pluggables, you can do the same. So that means you do like this, and you add the other pluggable, you put now PDB2. If you have 3 pluggables, you need to do that as well. Okay, so if I do 2, I need to go to, okay. Do that for 3, whatever you know. So once you add it, okay, so now another thing will be for you to order the listener for the listener to pick that information, to catch that information. Despite the fact that you do that, sometimes you may still not connect. Okay, let me check the listener, make sure the listener listening to.
So reloading, that will be the same thing as bouncing the listener, right?
Bouncing, the same thing. Stop. Okay. Another person can stop and start, another person. So let's see if despite the fact that we added it there, we still work. Okay, so this one will work. It looks like it will work because I just need to add assist DBA, and that's it. Okay, so because I added the chain in the order, now I can connect. Okay, so that's how easy we can connect now straight from the operating system. Because sometimes you may not have access to the container, you guys. So you maybe maybe your environment as DBA, you will access this way. Username, password, and exactly like this. I'm telling you already. Okay, maybe your username may not be sys, okay? Maybe they will give you a credential who has a sys DBA privilege and you can access this way. So this is how you connect straight from container or pluggables at the OS level. But however, you can still access a pluggable through a container. Okay, how will I know I'm at the container level? I can show con name. Okay, and I will know I'm the root user. We have a lot of views that are available. Okay, I know that the morning class I did not spend too much time with them. There are a lot of views that you can be querying to see, you know, PDB details. Okay, or also there's another one. You guys can use the VDollar PDB. Okay. Well, for some information, there's a lot of views like that that are specific to, you know, to this one. But let's say common one. If you want to see all the pluggables in this container, you just issue show PDB, and you will see that these are the 3 pluggables we created. This is their ID, the identifier. I told you guys that there's always a seed that is created. The seed is always in read-only mode, and you can see that the pluggables are here. Okay, so if now let's assume somebody wants to create users like you usually do. Assume, okay, you create a user the way you usually do. You will now see that it cannot work because it's invalid common user. So we can no longer create a user this way. Instead, you can create a user, you put C, okay? You put down the name. The password is, that one doesn't matter, okay? And you can now specify if you want the user to be created on all the container or a particular container. So you can also grant privileges. If you don't grant privilege, you cannot connect. So also grant connect, right? This is a command you guys are familiar with. So this is, for instance, how I can create a user here. So, and to connect to a user is how you know, okay? Same thing, you have been familiar with. Connect to go to a particular pluggable, to switch from container to pluggable now. After session, set container equal. So this one is switched directly from container to pluggable without being there, okay, OS level. So we can say beacon, we put a PDB name, as you can see here. Okay, beacon PDB1, for instance, okay? No, the 6 users should do that, sorry.
But if you grant DBA to test, he'll be able to do that, right?
I will see that one if it's possible. DBA will help, but let me see. I switch to the container, to the pluggable. Yeah, let me try to connect to this pluggable now as the test user. Okay, you can connect. Let me try to switch from this test user to the container now. I can switch from the pluggable to the container. If I do this, I can see now that I switch, but let me see if I can now move from the container to the pluggable. Maybe this one, he can do that. Okay, so he can do that if he doesn't have maybe an admin privilege. So, okay, let me see that. Let's try again. Okay. So only 6 can do that, definitely. But if you are already at the PDB level, you can switch back to container. Okay. So this user can connect at least to the pluggable. Okay. So that is what makes it different. So at least this user can connect. That means if C-test1, C-test can, okay, C-test can connect to the pluggable directly at the OS level. Let's go and see. Not going to create session. Maybe that's why it was first. Create session.
I thought you granted DBA. Does that not come with the privilege?
Why does that? Let me exit and see if that's the issue. Okay, so yeah, normally it should include that. So he normally should do that. He should be. Maybe I need to grant it at the pluggable level. Let me do something. Let me alter session set container equal beacon PDB1. Okay. create session on this two. Let me see now if that's was the issue. Okay. So the create session is needed as well at the PDB level. So despite the fact that you created a user at the container level, if you want that user to create a session directly to the PDB, you need to grant create session. So let's try again to connect from the container, okay, to see if the user can connect from the container to the PDB without being at the OS level.
Can you say that again, please? So if you create a common user, you have to grant all the resources at the container level, right?
No, you grant some privileges there, but if you want the user to be able to create a session directly at the OS level or directly from the container to the pluggable, you need to grant create session. But what happens is what? If you don't grant this create session, right, you should be already in the pluggable and switch from SACE to that user. So I don't need this permission if I'm already in the pluggable as SACE user and I just want to switch. So definitely this user definitely needs a create session privilege in order to be able to connect from the OS level with any pluggable. So that's why the session privilege is needed at the PDB level. So if this user doesn't have create session at a particular PDB level, he won't be able to create a session. Let's assume that I want to connect now to the second PDB. I put 2 here, the same user, okay? You see the user cannot connect to the second PDB because the user doesn't have create session privilege on that pluggable, okay? So it's a common user because I don't need to create this user again on each of the pluggable, but I need to grant the create session privilege to this user on each of these pluggable.
So what does that mean? You have to, okay, so that means you have to be in the container and then grant this, or you have to be in each pluggable before granting the create session.
Just a create session, yes, if you want the user to be able to connect straight like this. At the OS level.
You have to connect to each pluggable.
Yes, you have to grant that permission on each pluggable.
Okay.
The user won't be able to connect straight from the OS level to any pluggable.
And now, so can you connect directly from the operating system to a pluggable? Actually, okay, if you want to connect to the container, I know you have to set the environment, but then do you have to set the environment if you want to connect to a pluggable?
You can also set the environment, of course, okay? I think it was set before, right? .space or env.
Yeah, but that was to connect.
You don't set, no, you don't set the environment for pluggable. You don't do that.
Okay.
We set the environment for instances, and the instance, we only have one instance. So we don't set the environment for pluggables. Because there's no background process representing a pluggable. Remember, guys, that they share background processes. So you can just set the environment to the container.
Okay, so that means if I want to connect directly to a pluggable, I'll have to set the environment first.
As the environment to the container, yes.
Yeah, to the container before connecting to the pluggable. Okay.
Yes, before making a connection. Yeah. Okay. So since this user has access already to, okay, because this one is actually this user. Okay, let's now see if the user can now connect from the container to the pluggable, okay? Because it was failing as well. See if that's possible, since I granted create session, okay? After session, well, beacon, PDB1. It can still not work. So you can connect from only from the OS, okay? But you cannot switch like that. And you can create your own session. from the OS to the pluggable. If you want to connect from the container to pluggable, you may not be able to do that. But you can switch back from pluggable to container, as we did before here. I think there was an example here when we were able to connect. We went to the pluggable. What is that? We are at 6dba, we connected to the pluggable. And when we issue show con name, we saw the pluggable. Then we connected as test. So there I did not need the create session because I was already in that pluggable. So I was not coming from the operating system. So I could just connect. And now if you want to, now what happened is you can move from the pluggable to the container now, as you can see here. This user can do that, but not the reverse. Okay. And with this one, if you want to shut down a pluggable as
So why did the show pluggable command fail?
because it was not the right user. Okay, this user doesn't have administrative privilege to be able to show pluggable.
Okay.
So if you want to shut down a pluggable, it is closed. Okay. Immediate. Oh, sorry. You need to specify the pluggable name. After pluggable database, you put the pluggable database name. Okay. You close it. And it will close the pluggable for you. And you can see the pluggable will always stay at the mount stage. It will never go lower than that. So either it's mounted, read only, or read write. Those are the stages. So whenever you close the plug, okay, you close the pluggable, you go to the mount stage. Okay, if you want to open it, okay, open in read only mode, or you can open in read write. Okay. So if you want to open read only, just put open, you put space read only, and you will open the pluggable database in read only mode. Okay. So there are multiple things you can go ahead and implement. Some of these. This is what we did. Connect to container, connect to pluggables. Okay. This one, yes, backup the container. Oh, this is backup. So connect to a pluggable. What I just did. Okay, this is that here. So you just need to update your TNS. Okay. Alter session as we did. Now, something good to know is that you guys no longer in a container, okay? In a container, we no longer have HR, Scott users, all those users you guys know in a container environment. In non-container, it's possible, okay? Non-container is possible, but in container with pluggable, you will no longer have Scott and HR. That means if I do here, select username from DBA_user, where username equal we will know rows.
So you don't have any sample schemas here?
If you pay attention, when I was even creating, I did not have option for sample schema.
Okay.
For container. Non-container, I think you may have it. The container you don't have. Even at the pluggable level, you will not have it as well. Okay, so yeah. Apart from this, the way you manage pluggables, everything else looks the same. Okay. Show para. Okay. This is where you set up in-memory. In-memory. You want to enable in-memory columnar, you set it up from here. Okay. And you see here that the optimizer by default will be aware of that. So whenever you have in-memory, the optimizer will use it. Use it when one is making his decision. Okay, on the email.
Yes, hello.
Okay. So
How is he today?
the user is not muted.
No, I didn't want.
So yeah, other stuff you can check. Okay, the way you put archive log mode is the same thing. Okay, don't worry about pluggable. If you know how to put the database archive log mode, it's the same. Nothing will change. Okay, so just the way to connect to pluggable we can change. And you do select name from video data file. Pay attention. You will see now that at the container level you can see the container data file. You got the container, you can see other data, the container name, data file system, sysauth. Okay, users. This users table is not important. It doesn't store the pluggable user data. It just there like that. You can see the seed. The seed only comes with the system and sysauth. You can now see the data file of each pluggable. These three are for Beacon PDB1. You see it comes with system, sysauth, and its own user table space. On 12.2, it can come with its own undo. Okay. You can also, but the undo is shared on 12.1. I also see that for PDB2, also come with 3. For PDB3, also come with 3. But if I connect to a pluggable, I can see only that pluggable data file. So if I'm connected to a pluggable now and I do select name from Vidra, I'm connected to a pluggable PDB1. I can see only its data file now. So I can see that even, you see, it is sharing the same undo. So you see that this undo is here. This undo normally is the container undo, but you can see it there. But even if you switch, you go to PDB2, you will still see the same undo because all of them are sharing this undo as well. Okay, so
this is tedious, really.
select member from the dialog file. You can see now even the redo is not dedicated to this pluggable. The redo is for the container. So it means it is using this common redo. See, they're also using the common control file because this control file, you can see that it is for the container. So they are sharing other resources, but they have their own resources such as users, system, and sysauth. Okay. So yes, you can be playing around with this. Okay. And so the group that you present, just do the remaining one. If there's anything else you have to do, please try the point in time recovery. Try other things if you will have time. You can also enable in-memory. It's easy. In-memory is just a static parameter. So if you allocate a memory site, you just need to shut down and start up. That's it. It's very easy. You can add a table in that memory. You can remove a table. But basically, that was it for what we had to do on 12C. Unless on Monday we have questions or we have other things, we come back on it. Okay, so I think that's it. Any question? Any question, Guy? So, Lanam, please. Yeah, expecting your presentation. I don't know when. Monday is September 21. So, 2-1. Okay. Expecting this presentation. Right, nothing else? Any question?
Excuse me, Gaita. Was
Yeah.
the Canvas issue solved?
I asked you guys, I told you guys to contact me. You guys check? You guys should check, right? Did you check your Canvas page? Just connect to your Canvas, right?
Okay.
Just connect to your Canvas and see if you can see a new page. If you cannot, then it's not solved. Do you contact me? Do you contact him?
Yeah. And he told me he sent emails. I don't know if everybody got an email.
Check your spam. Sometimes I can go to your spam. If you send check everything. You should have a new page project. Okay. If you don't, please follow up before Monday.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh yeah, I just checked and I have it.
Okay, good. Good. Check, guys. Those who are.
Anita.
Yeah. So if she has it, then
Is
no,
there what? Sorry.
other can also check.
Anita,
Yeah.
where did you where
Just
is it?
press on courses, and you'll see a project there.
Oh yeah. It's there.
Is there, right? Good.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. That means everything will move on.
Thank you so much.
Keep like this. Administration project. You should see. Okay. So what is good about this page is that it's frequently updated. This guy always adds some stuff, video, whatever, documentation. People use it even at work. So keep your credential, because sometimes folks do not delete. People even after 2-3 years can still access Canvas. Okay, you don't need to be paid to be Brontech. You can still have this access sometimes after Brontech. Okay, guys, if there's nothing else, so that's Monday, right?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a good weekend.
Okay.